Qadar, destiny. The linguistic meaning of qadar, so there's a small cue here, is the exactness upon which everything comes into being. Yani the limit upon which everything comes into being, whether good or evil, beautiful or ugly, wisdom or stupidity, etc. And it is the manifestation of how things turn out to be, whether good or evil, as well as what reward and punishment those things get. Yani, that's part of the language too. So the linguistic meaning of qadar is the exactness upon which everything comes into being, whether good or evil, beautiful or ugly, wisdom or stupidity, etc. And the manifestation of how things turn out to be, yani the appearance of the outcome, whether good or evil, as well as what reward and punishment those things get. Therefore, qadar is destiny or fate. The Shaykh said in the explanation of As-Sirat, ويقال بعبارة أخرى القدر هو جعل كل شيء على ما هو عليه. In other words, the qadar is the making of everything as it is. The people of truth said that everything exists by God's will, which is his specifying, takhsis, specifying its existence at its particular time with its particular qualities, yani making it one way or another way. They happened as he knew, by his destining, taqdir, which is his management, his tadbir. So these are here two words, they mean the same, taqdir and tadbir. There's a third word, qadar. So qadar and taqdir and tadbir. And you'll see what else might come, inshallah ta'ala. His management is not thinking or contemplation, because thinking is an event and a feature of some creations. His decree is his creating. By it, every element of the world came into existence. Most Ash'ari said the qada, the decree, is the eternal will's systemization and arrangement of events. And its systemization and arrangement of occurrences in a particular order. They said, and the qadar is the will's relation to things at their specific moments. May Allah bless you and have mercy on you. Ameen. So they said, most Ash'ari said, qada is things being systematized and arranged, yani the occurrences and events that all take place, that unfold. Most Ash'ari said that's the qada. And the qadar is the will's relation to things, the will pertaining to things at their particular times. The qadar is the wills pertaining to things at their time. The Maturidiyah said the qada is God's eternal will, as related to how things shall be in the unending future, or as it pertains to how things shall be in the unending future. And his qadar is the creating of those things with specific measurements in themselves, and with specific measurements in their circumstances. The knowledge, power, and will are his attributes by which he brings creations forth from nothingness into being. What he eternally knew would happen, he willed that it happens. Whatever he willed to happen happens by his power. He knows what he willed and did not will other than what he knew. And his power pertains to whatever his will pertains. Whatever he commanded to be would be at the time and in the way that he willed it to be. Let's read that again. The knowledge, power, and will are his attributes by which he brings creations forth from nothingness into being. What he eternally knew would happen, he willed that it happens. Whatever he willed to happen happens by his power. He knows what he willed, and he did not will other than what he knew. And his power pertains to whatever his will pertains. Whatever he commanded to be would be at the time and in the way that he willed it to be. As proven by his saying, إنما قولنا لشيء إذا أردناه أن نقول له كن فيكون. Our mere saying to something when we willed it is that we say to it, be, and it is. Our mere saying to something when we willed it is that we say to it, that is, we command, we say to it, be, and it is. And in another ayah, إنما أمره, his command, إذا أراد شيئا, if he willed something, is that he says to it, kun fayakun, and it is. As the self of Allah has no beginning, his will, knowledge, decree, and destining without beginning preceded all matters, whether a size or an action, good or bad, obedience, sin, blasphemy, all deeds of creatures, and everything that comes into existence. Wa subhanallahi wa bihamdih. Taqdir and maqdur. We are ordered to believe in the qadar, but this word qadar has two meanings. Taqdir is one meaning, which Ash-Shafi'i defined as the will of Allah, and maqdur, destined, destining and destined. The word qadar covers both of those. Both are compacted in the hadith of Gabriel, وَالْإِيمَانُ بِالْقَدَرِ خَيْرِهِ وَشَرِّهِ. And belief in qadar, it's good and it's bad. Here, when believing in the qadar was included amongst the things in which we must have faith, then either we must believe in God's act of destining, taqdir, which is his qada, his decree, or it would be that we have to believe in the created destined matter, the maqdur. The created, decreed, destined events that occur are not what must be believed in, along with believing in Allah, his angels, his books, his messengers, and the last day. So it must be that we are obligated to believe in and accept qadar with the meaning of destining, which is Allah making those things as they are. Allah said, Inna kulla shay'in khalaqnahu biqadar. Surely everything we have created it by qadar. And the ayah means like this. Surely we have created everything. We have created it by qadar. That's closer to the full meaning of the ayah. Inna kulla shay'in khalaqnahu biqadar. However, the very same hadith does hint to the maqdur, because the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Washarrih," and its evil. It is impossible that this means the evil of Allah's attribute of qadar. So although the pronoun in its evil indeed goes back to al-qadar, it does so in a way that gives al-qadar a second meaning, the maqdur, which is the created, ordained, decreed thing. Our obligation concerning the maqdur is to love the good that has been destined and to hate the evil that has been destined. All of it, good and evil, is by the taqdir, but only the good is by his acceptance. The evil is not. Wa subhanallahi wa bihamdih. Acceptance. There is no correlation between God's will and God's rida, his acceptance. Meaning that Allah did indeed will what he does not accept. If it were said, is his will accepted or not? So right there, that person's confused. It's not what we're even saying there. But here we go. If it were said, is his will accepted or not? We say, indeed it is. If they say, why then does he punish for what he accepts? We say, in fact, he punishes for what he does not accept. His will, preordainment, and all of his attributes are accepted, but the deed of the slave that happens by the will could be accepted or not. If not, then he punishes for it. Al-Jubba'i argued by the saying of Allah, وَلَا يَرْضَى لِعِبَادِهِ الْكُفْرِ. He does not accept blasphemy for his slaves. He said, had blasphemy been by the decree, it would be obligatory on us to accept it, because accepting the decree is obligatory. And since the nation agreed that accepting blasphemy is blasphemy, it is obligatory to say that it is not by the decree, nor by his acceptance. They likewise said that Allah said, وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. I did not create the genies and humans except to worship me. Here, you see that kasra on the noon there. So the origin is لِيَعْبُدُونِي, except to command them to worship me. They say that Allah informed, he told, that he created the humans and genies for worship. So whoever says that he created the blasphemer for blasphemy and the sinner for sins, because that's contrary to worship, then he has rejected the judgment of the texts. The scholars responded, firstly, blasphemy is not the decree itself. It is what is related to the decree. The decree is the attribute of Allah. Blasphemy is the act of the slave. The obligation is to love the decree, which is the attribute of Allah, not the decreed, which is the created thing, unless it is among what is accepted by Allah. If it's an accepted decreed thing, then it would be obligatory on us to love that also. So the obligation is to love the decree, not the decreed, unless it is among what is accepted by Allah, and unless it is among what is obligatory to love, whether people or deeds, prophets and the awliya. As for the argument that he based on the verse, it can be answered in several ways. One, willing is not accepting. Allah willed for blasphemy, but we do not say that he accepts it. So, وَلَا يَرْضَى لِعِبَادِهِ الْكُفْرِ. He doesn't accept kufr. That doesn't mean he didn't will it, because willing is not accepting. Because acceptance is an expression of praise. To consider something good and to approve of it. That's acceptance. Willing means to mean something. To mean something. Yani, it means to intend something, for example, or to have a goal or decision, for example. I'm just using alternative words. I'm not saying as an attribute of Allah, just to see the meaning of the word. So approving is one thing, and willing is something else. Willing is like wanting something or meaning something. You say, I meant it. So willing is not accepting. Allah willed for blasphemy, but we do not say that he accepts it. Because acceptance is an expression of praise, to consider something good and to approve of it. For example, Allah said, لَقَدْ رَضِيَ اللَّهُ عَنِ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. Allah accepted the believers. This means that they are praiseworthy. This is different from will, for the will is the specifier of one of two possibilities. That's what will is for Allah. His will is the specifier of one of two possibilities. Not talking about praising or dispraising. A person would do many things by his will and choice without accepting them. This is the difference between them. وَسُبْحَانَ اللَّهِ وَبِحَمْدِهِ